and then the whole cycle goes on. And there's a decrease in blood glucose, again the whole cycle goes. This is how the normal cycle works. But what happens actually is, what you must understand, is the role of insulin. So when the glucose in the bloodstream gets to the cell, it has to go through the cell membrane. There's a kind of a lock there. And insulin is the key that opens the lock. So the insulin opens the lock and the glucose is admitted into the bloodstream. That is the simplest explanation. It's like a key in a lock. So what happens? Oh, sorry. Cell gets open, some of the locks are open, a little bit of glucose gets inside. At some point of time, the pancreas gets exhausted and it crashes back to making originally what 100 units used to make. And that's where you have all the problems. So what we're trying to understand is, what is it that goes and gums up this lock? What is it that prevents this lock from being opened by the insulin? And it turns out that what does this is actually the fat that is inside the cell. Inside every cell, see what happens is, like evolutionarily, our ancestors 100,000 years ago, they were hunter-gatherers, whatever. They used to eat whatever they used to get, and then suddenly if they got an animal, they could kill it, they could kill it and eat it, and they would get the meat and chicken or whatever it is, and that fat would go to the body, and they may not get that kind of a meal again for a long time. So the body is storing the fat inside every cell. So this fat is what is a kind of reserve for us. So, but when there's too much of fat in the cell, apparently this results in the lock getting jammed and the key not opening. Another interesting thing happens. Inside the cell, there is a very small organ, I can't call it a small entity called mitochondria. These are the energy furnaces of the cell. Here's where the fat in the cell gets burned. Now, surprisingly, if you have a large amount of fat in your diet, there are certain genes which regulate the production of mitochondria, and these genes are turned off. So the fat in your diet has a double whammy. The first thing is it gets into the cell and it gums up the lock so that the insulin can't open it. And second thing is, once the fat is in the cell, the mitochondria which are responsible for burning up the fat, they are less in number, so they can't work. So there's more fat, and therefore more of the locks get jammed, therefore there's more problem. So the basic culprit in all this seems to be the fat in the diet. So the key thing seems to be to get rid of the fat in the diet. Have a diet as low in fat as possible. That seems to be one of the key things to help reverse this. So now we come to the actual thing. How do you go about reversing diabetes naturally? It's quite simple. Okay, there's four things. One thing is, of course, no smoking. I won't go into that. You already know it. That what are the problems caused by smoking. Not only it contributes to diabetes, it contributes to coronary heart disease, it contributes to hypertension, lung disease, and the works. Okay. Second thing is, you need to do some amount of physical exercise. So it could be walking, swimming. In Bombay, I would recommend these two. If you have access to a swimming pool, swimming or walking is pretty good. Or any other exercise, whatever you can do. Some kind of stress management. Maybe you do yoga, you do meditation, listen to music, or act, or gardening, or whatever it is. And the fourth and the most important, the crucial part is the diet. Even if you don't do exercise, even if you don't do meditation, if you cut smoking and you do the diet, you'll still get the results. Of course, if you do the meditation and do the exercise, it makes it faster, makes it better, makes it more efficient. So those two things are actually additional factors. But these two things are actually the key. So, no smoking, nothing to talk about. You will figure out how you want to do it. But the diet is what I'm going to talk about. Okay? What is the diet that is required to follow to get rid of your diabetes? So, healthy eating. What do we mean by healthy eating? Again, it's extremely simple. There are just 3 points. Point number 1. Set aside all animal products. So, it's very simple. So, you're not allowed to have any meat, not allowed to have no chicken, no fish, not allowed to have any eggs or any egg products, not allowed to have any fish of any kind, and no dairy products. No dairy, no milk, no butter, no cheese, no ghee, no paneer, no lassi, no chas, whatever. Any form.
Paddies, okay?
Huh?
Paddies.
No, sir. Anything made out of milk. At all. If you want to reverse your diabetes, if you don't want to reverse your diabetes, it's okay. If you are a perfectly healthy person, you can have small amounts of this in your food diet, it won't really, cause a problem. But if you are trying to reverse your diabetes, you need to get rid of all non-veg, people understand very easily. Okay, I don't eat non-veg. But he said veg, I shouldn't eat dairy. That's a big problem. Because we've been brought up from our childhood, oh, milk is healthy, curd is healthy, is a health food, It is not as healthy as what there's a separate talk about it. I can give you a separate talk if you want on what are the problems with dairy, which I don't want to get into right now. Okay, why we are saying I don't want to get into that. But the key thing is all forms of dairy, be it milk, low-fat milk, curd, buttermilk, lassi, chas, butter, ghee, paneer, cheese, curry, whatever you name it, mithais of all kinds is out. Yes, sir.
Soybean milk?
No, sir. I'm talking about milk from animals.
Okay.
Soy milk is okay. Again, it's not. There are some controversies about soy milk. Some people say it's good. Some people say it's not so good. But I mean, if you want to have soy milk, go ahead. But don't drink liters of it. Have a reasonable quantity.
Don't drink only soybean.
Yeah. So there are only 3 things in this diet actually. Rule number 1 is set aside all animal products. Okay, that is rule number 1. Rule number 2.
What about the fish?
All of them, sir. All animal products high in fat. Now this is why, if you see, you may not be able to see this chart very clearly, but this lists all the animals. Leave the tofu out of it and beans. Egg, fish, oysters, crab, lobster, shrimp, squid, beef, veal, ham, pork, chicken. It gives a portion, the amount of cholesterol, amount of fat, and the amount of saturated fat. It's extremely high. Okay? So these foods are extremely high in fat. Therefore, if you want to reverse the diabetes, it's off. Dairy products say milk, non-fat, low-fat, whole milk, yogurt, cheese, all of them have got substantial amount of fat, saturated fat and fat. So this is why, in a nutshell, there are many other complications, I don't want to go into it, but in a nutshell, because of the fat content of these foods, we want the fat inside your cells to get cleaned out by the body. So if you stop consuming all these fatty foods, what happens is the body starts making the mitochondria again. The mitochondria inside the cells burns up the fat is gone, the insulin is able to work.
Yogurt has a zero fat, saturated fat.
Yeah, whatever, the point is there's a what is it, non-fat milk, it's got zero fat, but I wouldn't still recommend it. Okay, and if you compare with the plant products, like beans and stuff, the amount of fat they have from calories, the same portion. You see, one portion of beef has got 36% of fat from calories, whereas beans has only 4%. So if you look at brown rice or bread or strawberries, it's all single digit. But see, soy milk again it's more fatty than regular. So you be a little careful. But still, compared to any of the products on the right hand side, you can see the percentage of fat in plant products is far lower than the percentage of fat in animal products. This is why we are saying set aside all animal products. This is point number 1. Point number 2, keep vegetable oils to the minimum. If possible, completely oil-free. If you're cooking at home, it's possible to do it. If you're going outside and eating, it's not possible, but you be a little careful. But the point is, there's no point of giving up all the animal products so that you're getting rid of all the fat, and then you're eating kachoris and jalebis and samosas and gatiyas and pani puris and sev puris and bhel puris and tala hua things. There's no point. I mean, you're clogging up your cells with plant fat. I mean, it may be better than animal fat, but it's still fat. It's still going to cause similar kind of problems. Okay? So, we don't want any fat inside your body. I mean, inside all the plant foods, instead of bean, instead of potato, there's small amounts of fat. That's okay. That body can handle. What I'm talking about is this refined oil which we take so much of peanuts and crush it and make 1 teaspoon of oil. That's what the body has a problem with. So we need to keep vegetable oil to the bare minimum. If possible, cut it out completely. That is point number 2. Point number 3 and the last point. Now this is why again, see, if you see butter, margarine, amount of fat in it per portion, for 1 teaspoon of butter, 4 grams of fat. So, pretty high. And the third rule, or the last rule, as far as diet is concerned, is focus on whole foods. When I say whole foods, I mean food in the natural form. So, if you're eating a fruit, have a fruit. Don't have fruit juice. If you're eating a roti, have a tandoori roti. Have a chapati, fulka made of wheat. Don't have something made of maida like a naan or a rumali roti. If you're having a bread, have a whole wheat bread, a rye bread, a jawar bread, corn bread, nashti bread.
Whole wheat bread आपको बड़ा मिलेगा.
Well, there is certain amount, but you have to be careful. So, ideally you make the bread at home, or you make a chapati, so you know what you're having into it, but you know what's going into it. But my point is that whole wheat bread is what is preferred to white bread. brown rice, unpolished rice is preferred to white rice. So you've got to go with the whole foods instead of the refined foods. And why? It's pretty simple. Basically, all these foods which are whole foods have got a lot of fiber in them. Because of the fiber, something called a glycemic index is low. A glycemic index is the rate at which that food releases sugar into the bloodstream. So white bread has got a figure of 100, and all these are in comparison to that. So white bread disintegrates in your digestive system, and the glucose gets released very rapidly into your bloodstream. So the body has difficulty coping with it, especially if you're diabetic. You already have too much of sugar in your blood, and you're eating something which is pumping it more. Therefore, you need to be very, very careful. So all the other foods like brown rice, or whole wheat bread, or any of these vegetables, fruits, they have a low glycemic index. So these foods are to be preferred. Almost all fruits have got a low glycemic index except for pineapple and watermelon. So actually, a diabetes can have mangoes, no problem. Or chicus, or bananas. There's absolutely no restriction. They are your good best friends actually. It's not very many. I know many people who are diabetics. They're not eating mangoes for 5 years, 10 years. It's a real tragedy because they can jolly well enjoy.
It's a good advice.
They can jolly well enjoy. Okay. So these foods, which are whole foods, have got high amounts of fiber and they've got low glycemic index. So because they're low glycemic index, when they get digested, the amount of glucose, the rate at which the glucose is released into the bloodstream is much lower. The body can handle it a lot easier. Okay. So, this is all theory, right? I am saying, what is the practice? What is the proof of it? So here's a young gentleman, his name is Zakir Hussain Ranwa. He used to work for me a long time ago. Now he has his own business. Young chap, he must be about 35 or so, and has diabetes. So he had come, and I've just taken one part of his blood test. It was taken in May 2011. You can see his HbA1c is 11.4. It's like through the roof, like. And he went on this diet. He's a young chap, and he came and he listened to us, and I'll do it. He did it, and within 3 months, you can see his HbA1c has gone down to 8.3. In just 3 months, it's still high. Okay, it's not reversible. But in 3 months, he would get these results. If you want to have the actual blood laboratory reports, I can email it to show it to you. This is not any kidding. I can give you his phone number. You can talk to him and see what you like. So in 3 months, he's able to get results. A diabetes drug you take or diet, if it reduces your HbA1c by 1%, is like a great achievement. And here you had 3% drop.
Was he continuing in the medicine?
No, why did
Okay, we will come to that. Another example. This is to answer your question. This is a gentleman called Dr. Vijay Joshi. Okay, he's also Bombay based. I'll give you his contact number later if you want. He was diagnosed as having diabetes for many, many years. And he tried all the medication, everything, and didn't help much. Then he came across the system, he followed it on. He's a professor in a university, very meticulous. He kept all the records, the day, the date, the blood test, values, and he tabulated the whole thing in an Excel sheet and he has given to me, which I'll share with you now. So you can see his results. Okay, this is started off in 2009. Okay, his fasting blood sugar was 143.8. And then again, this is in October 2009, December 2009, straight away dropped to 2 months to 108. In December 2010, 93.5, and just now, 1st of December 2011, hardly 1 week ago, is 78.4. Okay, and similarly, postprandial has also gone down from 196 to 119. Cholesterol is still more or less okay, not much of change there. But now he's particularly detailed, so I'll show you this to answer your question, sir. He has kept here the full details, here the dates, all that. He's a very, very conscientious professor at university, so he notes down everything. So he regular blood tests. So all the dates are given here. Okay, all the blood sugar fasting values, postprandial values, cholesterol, triglyceride, HbA1c. Right now you see it's down to 5.1. Sorry, 4.97. So if he takes his current medical test report to a doctor and shows HbA1c 4.97, you do not have diabetes. Okay. Now, interesting thing, he has also lost 9 kilos of weight. That has further benefits. And the last most important point, I don't know the full form, he has put his medication there. What are the medication he was taking? Okay. TTG 3 times a week, KN 2 times a day, E 1.5 a